Well, hello everybody. It's Dr. Carmen Bryan, and this is Car Chronicles. How you guys doing? You doing all right? You guys ready? All right, let's do this. Story time. Let's talk about narcissist rage. This is part 2. I don't know if I put it in the title or not, but narcissist rage, gaslighting, that crazy making, and then the accusation or the insults that come right after that. Let me tell you this little story. And first, let me add something to the beginning of the story to help you to understand. Don't act a fool like I did when I was younger, because I acted a fool and I wasn't doing things properly. But you can't even do anything properly with the narcissist anyway, and it's the fact that I didn't even know I was with a narcissist at the time. I was one of those type people as I was growing up. I hated for people to try to control me or force me to do things. And so I had a problem, even if I thought that you were trying to control me. I was the type of person that I would just be on the defense immediately, and I would fight back. And so one of the biggest things, and I'm not telling you guys to act a fool like I did. Use wisdom now, and that doesn't mean you stay in there and try to fight them. That's not what you do. But I was the type of person, if you push my button the wrong way, I would fight back, because I always assumed people were trying to control me. So the hardest part, I'm not gonna say the hardest part, but one of the hardest things for the narcissist that I was married to was that he just could not control me like he wanted to control me. He wanted control, and it was hard because I was a fighter. I'm not saying that I wasn't abused, because I was, but it was just hard because he wanted control, and he just couldn't break my soul. He couldn't break my spirit, and it was hard because he would always try to find ways, innovative ways, like a narcissist does, to try to find what is your point, what is your breaking point. And there were several times, of course, that I hit my breaking point. But when I hit my breaking point, he also found that I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. All the chips were not full in my bag of chips. There was a lot of air in the bag. But he found out that I was a little crazy, and he always tried to push me to that limit to watch me just blow up. And I remember an incident, which is kind of crazy, but I remember this incident about about ice cream. He liked butter pecan ice cream. I wasn't a fan of butter pecan ice cream. It was alright. I like chocolate or Neapolitan, I think that's what it's called. And it was at the time where I had my 2 oldest children. I was in the military. And he would always buy, a tub, the tub of butter pecan ice cream, and he would eat it. And a lot of times, if he didn't finish it, maybe like a cup left or something like that, he would just leave it in the freezer, and it would spoil. It would have freezer burns. You have to throw it away anyway. And so this particular time I came home, I had sweet tooth, and it was probably like 1/4 of a cup. It wasn't very much left in this tub of ice cream. It's probably like 1/4 of a cup. It wasn't that much in there. And so I ate it, and in my mind I was like, if he 9 times out of 10 he's gonna buy another one anyway, or I'll just go buy him another one. If he wanted, I'll go buy another one. Okay, you see how simple and how easy that is, especially when you're married. You like a simple, easy. I just let him know. If he looks for it, I'll just get him another one. No problem, no big deal. Yeah. So you guys know, when you're dealing with a narcissist, there is no such thing as a big deal. There is no such thing as no big deal. Y'all know there's no such thing as this is no big deal. Everything is going to get blown out of proportion. And you got to remember, when you're dealing with a narcissist, a lot of times, the rage that you experience also is displaced rage, displaced anger. Sometimes the anger is not even targeted toward you, but he would do things which many narcissists would do to try to set you up for the rage, because they have that much rage. They need to release that rage. And of course, it's about power and control. And the biggest thing is implementing fear, and especially through rage. And he was a very rageful individual. At that time, he was very on the low end of the narcissist spectrum, meaning that he had NPD, but he was still on the overt side, meaning that he had no sense of control over his emotions or whatsoever, period. He was like the Tasmanian devil, a tyrant. And everybody knew that. Thank God people at work knew his reputation, because he would do things to try to purposely sabotage my reputation amongst the leadership in the military. But, I had good communication, so they already knew he was a tyrant. Most people already knew how he was, and that was the only thing that really protected me at that time. And so it just so happened that I ate the ice cream, and he came home that evening. So the kids, I guess, are doing their homework. I don't know where I was at, in the bedroom somewhere. But all of a sudden, he's in the middle of the kitchen screaming at the top of his lungs, and he's a little red. And so when I say a little red, meaning, he's a little darker than I am. but his face was red, and he had like this vein in the middle of his head that was bulging, and I think a vein up under his neck, and his face was red. And when he got angry, some of you guys would know, start foaming at the mouth while they're screaming. So he's foaming at the mouth, and he's so angry, and he's screaming, "Who ate my ice cream?" And he's just in the middle of the kitchen screaming, and he calls the kids in there, and he calls me in there, and he's screaming. Now, a lot of you know, a lot of you can kind of defuse the situation like, look, it's no big deal. I got you. I'll go get you another tub, But those of you that have been in situations with narcissists know that, it doesn't matter what you say. All you're going to do is fuel the fire, because really the rage is really not the rage. It's not about the ice cream. It's about something else. It's just rage, and in their mind, you have disrespected me. You have dishonored me. I need to die by sword, like a samurai or a kamikaze, and it really is not about the ice cream. It's usually about something else. There's a deeper issue there. But he's screaming, and at the top of his lungs, so he's screaming at us, "Who ate my ice cream?" So, when you have been in a situation like that long enough, not to really respond right away, because it doesn't matter what you say, you're really just going to add fuel to the fire. So all of us are standing there with the head in the deer in the headlight look, and kind of looking like, okay, what is going on with this fool? He's screaming, he's foaming at the mouth. He got this big giant artery in his head that's like throbbing in his neck, and he's red in the face, and most of us, all three of us, my two kids and I, we're just staring at him. So no one is answering. And one thing that he couldn't stand is for me not to say anything, because when I got tired of arguing, or I didn't want to play the game, or I didn't want to say anything, I would just stop talking. I wouldn't even, and that right there would cause him to go into a rage to a point where he bit me on my mouth before. Well, I stopped talking, he bit me on my mouth. And another incident where I had shoulder surgery, where I was in the bed, couldn't really move, sick off the medication, and I just stopped talking. He called the police on me. Police walks in and looks at me and like, "You all right?" I was like, I just didn't argue with him. And from that point forward, he was an injured, crippled veteran, and he playing this sob story, but police didn't even bother with me. I just said I stopped talking. I just wasn't gonna argue. That's one thing he couldn't stand. And so, like I said, I got bit. I got the police called on me. So he could not stand silence. He could not stand, because remember, they're stuck in their own head. And so all of us are standing there in silence, not saying anything. He's getting more enraged because no one is answering the question. So he moves over to my children and looks at me and says, if you don't open your mouth, or if you don't tell me that you ate this ice cream, I'm going to start beating your kids. So of course I'm looking, I'm kind of shocked. So the kids, you can see in their face like, please say something, and I'm just looking like, I cannot believe he just threatened my children to make me confess that I've eaten the ice cream. So, I'm trying to keep it low so he doesn't, low key, so that he doesn't do anything to the kids. And I'm like, obviously, I'm the one who ate the ice cream. Of course I ate the ice cream, And so right after that, and some of you guys have experienced it, first thing he says is, "What kind of mother are you? You're a sorry excuse of a mother, that you're willing to sacrifice your own kids in order to lie and not confess the fact that you ate some ice cream." So I'm thinking to myself, what? And he was like, "You're a sorry mother." So for years, I was always this sorry mother that wouldn't defend my kids, and I was willing to sacrifice my children in order to keep a lie going, because I'm afraid and I'm scared. And as I said, you just listen to the whole story. So some of you guys, you have been in situations like this, and you have to watch yourself, because number one, when you get out of the situation, whether they discard or whether you discard, you have to watch yourself. You have to watch where your mind can go, because those are the echoes of the past. And you'll keep bringing this up in your head to a point where you'll just have a hatred toward this individual, and you don't want to walk through life with hatred and bitterness, because you either be bitter or you're gonna be better. And memories like that pop up, reoccurring memories, especially like in PTSD, where those memories keep reoccurring, you get angry, you get bitter, you become enraged, you take upon their nature and you become enraged. And you have to be able to shut that door, because there's nothing you can do to change that past. And then for some of you struggling to come in and out of that relationship or situationship, you got to remember why you left in the first place. Your kids have been traumatized, you have been traumatized. And when I talk about the narcissists, these folks are really mentally disturbed. They have psychological issues. They have personality disorders. There is no negotiation. It doesn't matter what I said at that time. It doesn't matter what you say. It was going to be wrong, period, anyway. And this is not a normal relationship. That's not normalcy in a relationship. I could have just bought some more ice cream. No big deal. No such thing as a big deal in that type of situation.